Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone. We are going to get started in a few minutes, but while you guys are just getting settled and signing in, I'd love if you'd hang out in the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. If you have a Twitter or an Instagram, let us know, how we can connect with you afterwards. This is going to be a really fun. We want it really interactive, so we want to hear all your questions. Let us know you're out there.
Definitely. And I mean, seeing all the conversations that have been happening online about relationships and video and marketing, this one has just been the highlight of my week coming up.
I know. I'm pretty excited.
Florida in the house. All right.
Yup.
How's it going, guys?
DC.
Anybody here from social media marketing world? Anybody drinking their coffee on the West Coast?
Yeah, it's early out there.
8 a.m. For the West Coast, that's super early. Canada, all right.
Oh,
Canada,
Chicago. Ooh, Honduras.
Chicago. I love this. UK. All right.
Nice. What time is it in the UK?
This is why I love video.
Los Angeles, another UK.
Oh, man. You
New
think
Jersey.
The whole world is like, hi, how are you? Oh.
It's the magic of social media. Georgia, Denver, ATL, Atlanta.
Toronto. All right. T-Dot. I'm driving there today. That'll be a blast.
It's still very cold in Canada right now. It's still pure winter.
Very cold is relative, right? So for us, it's, what would it be for you guys? I guess it would be like 36, 37, okay. So just above freezing.
Yeah.
Which cold. Is really nice for us. Not so bad. Toronto's always warmer, but Toronto, you got to wrestle with the traffic, which is a lot like, I'd say closer to Chicago, not quite LA, but closer to Chicago.
Okay.
It gets congested and people get upset. And but the city.
Gorgeous in Calgary, it says. It's 4 p.m. in Bavaria. Peter's drinking a beer?
Really?
Switching the coffee for beer. I love it.
Where's Bavaria? Germany?
I don't know. Peter, let us know where Bavaria is. We want to know where everyone's coming in from. It's warm in Victoria.
A lot of BC folks. That's West Coast. That's impressive.
I know.
You must have.
All right, Germany. Bavaria's in Germany. Makes sense. All right. Jackson, Mississippi. So Albuquerque. All right. So we definitely want you guys to keep sharing in the chat, letting us know, where you're coming in from. And be sure to ask us every question you have about relationship marketing while we're on this. We are going to try to get to every single question. If we don't, we will make sure we get to it afterwards. You're going to get the recording of this. So if you can't hang out the whole time, we're going to try and leave some time for Q&A too. But with that being said, I'm going to kick us off. Keep sharing. I love it. VT, New Jersey, Pacific Northwest. So I'm Maura Hughes. I'm the digital content manager here at MeetEdgar. If you have never heard of Edgar before, we are a social media scheduling tool, and we make it so much easier to manage your social media feeds. We have tons of automation features like recycling, content recycling. We have a smart composer that will write your updates for you. We have RSS feeds that automatically pull in your content. Everything we do is designed to save you time so that you can do what we're going to talk about in this webinar, which is build relationships that will help you grow your business and build your business. I'm super excited to introduce my co-host today because Dan Willis connected with me over Twitter. We built a relationship through social media while both of us were working on our individual careers. Dan's building a consulting business. I am a social media manager. So that's how we connected, and it's doing wonders for both of us. So I'm going to let him take it away. Dan, if you introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I love seeing Canada show up. I'm a crazy Canadian. Don't let the star fool you. I'm just a Captain America nut. But yeah, I do digital consultancy for large brands and entrepreneur startups, all about how they can really use relationships to drive their business forward. So helping people escape that mentality of it's about pushing content all the time, and it's about spending this massive ad budget. And those are bits and pieces that can come in, but those are only supplemented when you actually engage with the community in real time. So that's one of the things that I really loved about MeetEdgar was I was able to quickly curate a calendar, have that posting out to the feed and providing value to my community and my business's communities. And that freed me up for so much time to do live interaction on Twitter, to create live videos. I didn't have to constantly worry about, is my content going out? Am I reaching the right people? Instead, I was able to just plug in and be live and in the moment on my social feeds, knowing that my calendar was there. So I absolutely love what MeetEdgar is doing, and I love what it's doing for video content especially. So I'm excited for today, guys. I can't wait to wrestle out how relationships are really going to drive that business forward for you.
Okay, so Patricia just asked how long is this webinar going to be on for? So we're here for the next hour. We are done at noon Eastern time. There will be a recording. So if you have to jet out early, I will be sure that the recording will be in your inbox this afternoon.
Just ask your questions before you go. That way we can.
Yes. Yeah, get your questions in. Hey, Jenna from Charlotte. And also, while you guys are in the chat, let us know what your business is. What brought you here today? We'd love to hear kind of what you're working on. And hey, Carlos, well, you're right on time. Real estate, consulting. Yeah, drop in what you guys are working on so that we can make sure, you know, we're answering all your questions.
Real estate is going to be massive. Theater podcast. Ooh. I love that.
Bookkeeping and tax returns, graphic design, travel services, recruiting, lifestyle app development, personal styling. I love, we have so many people here. And what's awesome, guys, is you're going to, like, no matter what industry you're in, you're going to pick up something that you're going to be able to take back into your business.
Absolutely.
Engineering, travel blogging. All right. So Dan, why don't you tell me, what is relationship marketing? What is this?
Yeah. So everybody's heard of marketing. Everybody knows relationships. And to make the two kind of sync, it seems a little off. But what people are seeing more and more, and some terms you guys may be familiar with, influencer marketing, that sounds probably familiar to a few of you. Social hacking has been another one that a lot of people are talking about. In reality, what relationship marketing is, a lot of brands and businesses, guys like Mark Schaefer, Jessica Phillips, myself, what we've really noted is paid per click is there, and it's an aspect of business, but it's not seeing the same kind of engagement that it used to. A lot of people are showing frustration with social media platforms where it seems like it's almost pay to play for brands and businesses. And what we realized was, well, none of us are doing that. So how come all of us are seeing success with our business and how we're reaching out, but we are not in any way dropping massive ad dollars? And what we realized was it's because we're constantly engaging our community. And building up relationships, both digital and online, really seizes hold of an age-old practice, and that's word-of-mouth marketing. Everybody wants to talk influencer marketing. You think of Kim Kardashian or The Rock, and those guys are great, don't get me wrong, for what they do, but they're a little out of most of our price ranges. Instead, what we look at is your community can be huge for you in being micro-influencers in each of their networks. And once you learn how to engage that and optimize it, it becomes super easy. So relationship marketing is this concept of how do you engage your community better to become advocates for your brand, to spread the word about your product or service, and then to actually create them into customers as well. And everybody's asking, will this be available to watch later? And 100% it will be. If you have to duck out early for whatever reason, please ask your questions in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them, okay? But that's relationship marketing in a nutshell. It's about engaging your community and creating relationships that are going to market your brand and create new networks for you that are going to convert into sales.
Yes, I love that. I love it. All right. So, relationship marketing has kind of been around for a while, but we've tried to fast track things a little bit. I think a lot of people, that's why they're paying for influencers, right? Is because they want to fast track it and they want to reach as many people as possible. So for you, digitally, how did you get started building these relationships with people? What's the first step for someone?
Yeah, so this actually goes back probably 5 years now, where I was working in the esports industry, and Twitch was a big thing for esports. And one of the requirements with Twitch is it's not like YouTube where you can throw up a video and it's just there forever. It's all about that live presence and being live for large chunks of time. So I'd be live for 8 hours a day on video, connecting with people and talking with people and playing games and talking. And what I saw come out of that was very, very interesting. And a lot of people are saying, well, millennials have no attention span. Gen Z has no attention span. Even the boomers, they're too busy to plug into video. And what I was seeing was these monumental commitment times for video watch. People watching for 3 or 4 hours at a time. And I realized that kind of attention in this market is almost unheard of. So I started to try to reverse engineer that a little bit. What does this look like off of Twitch? Can it be done off of Twitch? Started to play with YouTube, started to play with Twitter video, which is actually how we met and how I make a lot of my connections is by creating long-term content on YouTube and short, real-time live video replies and live video content on Twitter. And it is unbelievable the level of engagement that comes out of that and how quickly the network just explodes.
So I love what you said just there, because I really want you guys who are listening in to take note of that. Dan has 2 content strategies, okay, that intertwine into one. He has longer form content, which for him is YouTube videos. For you guys, it might be blogs, it might be your podcast, you know, it might be your email marketing. Maybe that's your longer form. And then he has shorter form, which is when he's really engaging, when he's like showing up and doing these quick videos. And for you guys, that could be Facebook Lives. It could be doing your Instagram story lives. It could be going on, you know, LinkedIn and connecting there. So it's this balance of that long form content and then that shorter. So, you know, if you guys happen to do that, I'd love to hear like what your long form or what your short form content is, or really just how you're sharing content on social these days. And so, okay, Dan. So what I'm hearing, oh, David said you guys are going to hit snow on your ride, on your drive. So, you know, what I'm hearing is you really started to balance like, hey, creating all this, what we like to call evergreen content at MeetEdgar, which is your longer form stuff, and then diving in and finding your people and starting this community and really starting to build these relationships. So I'd love to hear for you how you started to do that, because let's be real, social is huge. Like you could get in anywhere, and who knows if you're going to find your people. So Melia says she has a podcast, emails are her long form, Instagram posts are her short form. Perfect. I love that. So talk to me a little bit about how you found your, how you started finding your people, like where you went to build these relationships and how you dove in.
Yeah, so one thing that I think all of us are going to be familiar with is the idea of funnel strategy, and understanding that you're trying to attract that large open funnel at the beginning, and that narrows down to your conversion. Relationship marketing isn't completely foreign to that concept, but the idea though is you have to understand first and foremost where that community is to engage with them before you can start actually processing them through that relationship funnel. So just like any relationship you have in real life, I may walk up to you on the street of Toronto, say, hey, how are you? My name is, and that would be top of the funnel relationship. But as we exchange emails, as you consume content, I consume your content, you can see our relationship also comes down to a funnel where eventually there's going to be an engagement or a collaboration. Heck, that's why we're here today. That's why Maura and I are here, is that funnel led down to that point of interaction. And whether that's a conversion or you're creating content, a collaboration, all of those are ways that works. But the reality is relationship marketing, finding that initial audience can't be as difficult as you think it is. The beauty of relationship marketing is you're working at an international scale. And we were saying that right when we started the call, is look at this. Mm-hmm. There's people from Germany, from the UK, from Toronto, from the West Coast, from all over the world. And that's the beauty of this. Often people go, oh, well, I've got a brick and mortar store, so I need to focus on the community locally. Okay, but the reality is the community in your niche is much, much bigger than that. And you can build brand authority that you'd be surprised how well people are connected in the digital world. Somebody from Germany may share this out, but they've got family and friends in the UK who have family and friends that are back over here in Canada. That cycle is really big, and you never know how wide that network of influence is going to go. So originally for me, what I would do is hop into channels like Instagram and Twitter and really analyze, okay, digital marketing, social media, video, marketing strategy, where are the big conversations around this happening? And for me, it popped immediately. Twitter was huge, LinkedIn was huge, YouTube was massive. Instagram for me, not so much. But I had clients that work with the fitness and health and nutrition, and for them, Instagram was huge. Pinterest was massive. I probably wouldn't play on Pinterest, but if you are really looking at a female demographic from, let's say, 20 to 40, Pinterest would be bread and butter for you. So that's where a lot of the legwork with relationship marketing starts is, who do you serve? Mm-hmm. Who is your community? Who you're a part of? And remember, I'm not saying who do you spew on, I'm saying who do you serve? Who is somebody that you want to bring value to? And then finding them. Take the time, take a week, take 2 weeks. And I know this is quite an investment for especially a small business, but this is where the cost comes with the relationship marketing. It's not in dollars, it's in time and commitment to building these relationships and processing them down the funnel. So the reality is, go seek them out. Find out where those conversations are happening. Is it Facebook groups for you locally? Is it Pinterest? Is it Instagram? There's lots of options, and you're not hands tied to picking one. So just seek them out. Hashtag conversations, advanced search, look for local groups, try it out.
Yes. So we had a question. Sarah says that she's in B2B digital marketing for blue collar types, and she has a hard time coming up with short form content. Her long form contents are blogs. So Sarah, what I would tell you is to listen to what Jan just said and take a little bit of time. And maybe it's like going out into your community where those blue collar types are and connecting with them and finding out like, hey, where do you guys connect? Where do you get your information? They might all be on Twitter. They might all be on Facebook, or maybe they're meeting up in real life. Like that's where you can find them. And once you start talking to them is really what will get you the ideas for that short form content and where you can kind of reach them in a way.
The other thing with relationship marketing that I would add to that is it's not always about you being the source of the content, which is very, very different from traditional content marketing. Oftentimes, you can plug into conversations already happening. So if you've identified your blue collar crowd and you go, well, I'm having a hard time creating short form content to start the conversation, great. Don't start the conversation. Join the conversation already in progress and live video. Live video, live video, live video. Just hit the video reply on Twitter or on Instagram. You can drop a video DM and provide people that feedback in the conversation as it's taking place. Trust me, when I started into Twitter chats, I was not the guy getting invited to be the name on the Twitter chat, but I was plugging in with video replies, and it was amazing how quickly I went from being a attendee inside the Twitter chats to being the guy that is invited to be the speaker at those. And it's really that easy. As you engage with more and more conversations, people will realize you're not just looking to take from the community, you're really looking to give. And that creates great depth in your relationship.
Yes, absolutely. So Dan's a huge video fan, and I definitely recommend you guys, if you want to try out relationship marketing, to start testing videos wherever you are, wherever your audience is, whether it's in your Facebook group, someone said that earlier, or whether it's, on your Instagram story. I love doing videos on our Instagram story because it gives people an idea of who you are. You stand out a little bit. You're a little bit more memorable. You can get your personality going. And yes, Travis, they can be short. Dan's videos are really quick. They're quick replies. He joins conversations and he answers in quick, short ways. It does not have to be this whole big, process of creating videos.
Yeah, no, my videos typically as a Twitter reply would be anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds. I am playing around with some tools to get captions on them, but currently no captions, no fancy background. It's exactly what you're seeing here. And people really appreciate that. And that's one of the things that I'm seeing a lot of questions about, okay, what if you're an introvert? What if you're shy? What if it's not perfect? What if you don't have a green screen? Okay, get rid of all of that. None of that is needed. And I know a lot of you are going to be like, but the reality is this, guys. People really appreciate this organic, really transparent, genuine feel, right? And if you're not comfortable with live video replies, that's okay. I'm going to tell you something. I'm introvert. I live in this little bubble of my office here. But video content for me was really about, okay, how can we craft content and I can feel comfortable about that? I would record videos 5, 6, 7 times on my phone, which is, for those of you asking which tools I use, the phone, just the camera feature on here. I could record a reply 7, 8, 9 times before I felt comfortable with how it looked and how it sounded. And then I would put it out. Now, more and more as you do this, you're going to get more comfortable with just throwing it out there, and it won't take 7, 8, or 9 times. But you don't need to get any flashier than the camera on your phone. This thing is a massive broadcasting studio. Twitter makes it very easy to use for video content. Instagram and Facebook as well. They do have their video features. LinkedIn is getting there. We're not quite there yet, but just use your phone. It's more important that you're coming across as genuine than coming across as this flashy, look at my limousine and big mansion and high production costs. That's not going to engage. Most people are not going to be about that life. They don't want to see that. What they want to see is somebody delivering value with heart.
Yes, and I will note, so Lauren had a really good suggestion. She said start with recording your videos, upload them to Facebook and YouTube, just like Dan was saying. Also, guys, a lot of us are introverts, but you started a business because you believe in what you're doing and because you wanted to stretch yourself and you wanted to live a little bit of an outside the normal life, right? You wanted to live a bigger life, and sometimes that means stretching yourself a little bit. Absolutely, it's scary. Absolutely can be hard at first, but once you get into it, what you're going to find is, 1, you can do it because you can do anything. And 2, people are going to support you more. What happens is like when you start little by little, like jumping in, people will start to support you. They'll get to know you and it gets so much easier. And before you know it, like you're creating this community. So yes, it's going to be scary, but building a business is scary, but it is worth it 100%.
So Travis has a couple questions here about Zoom with a webcam. Yes, if you're going to record from your desktop, both Apple and traditional Windows desktop, they have camera features. You can literally hit your window key or Apple key, type in camera, and something will pop up that you can record with. It doesn't need to be Zoom. Your computer comes with software to do that, I guarantee. And that's all you need is the stock software, the camera software. Record it and upload it. Is that going to be used as a live feed? No. Nowhere is that going to show up as live if you pre-record. But most people aren't actually looking for that live little banner up here. And if it has a feel like what we're doing right here, I could record this and put it up and people would think it's live. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So we had a question a little while ago about, I'm trying to find the name, so sorry if I can't find it, but being a solopreneur and being busy, right? And that this takes time. And it absolutely does. So I'd love to hear, Dan, from you. Dan has a bunch of kids. He's got a wife. He has a million things going on in his life and a thriving business, but he also finds time to do that. And I'd love to hear from you, Dan, like, what are your tips? How do you balance? I know I have some ideas, but love to hear from you first.
Okay. So like Maura said, 7 kids, 8 on the way. I've got a wife. I've got my business. I do public speaking. Things get a little crazy, okay? So I really appreciate time being a valuable asset. The reality is this, though. MeetEdgar has been massive for me. And I'm not doing this just to promote MeetEdgar for the sake of it. I'm doing this because it literally frees up. We're talking hours and hours of content curation. I'm able to fill my content calendar using their import features in less than a half hour. And that sets me up for 90 days. Okay? So imagine an hour or 2 saved a day for 90 days. How much could you accomplish being live in your feed for an hour or 2 a day? It's a rhetorical question, obviously, but it's a massive chunk of time. Beyond that, what you're going to start to realize is when you're at work, when you've got time on the road. So I know for me, I'm traveling to a lot of conferences and events at the moment, and it is a great time for me to hand the wheel over to my wife. And I know, man, sometimes you want to be the driver all the time, but let it go and instead use the time productively. I love being on a flight or being in the car and being able to just plug in on my phone, engage in conversations. So often we find ourselves sucked into the feed anyway, where people say, well, I don't have time. Did you scan your Facebook feed today? Probably, right? Did you engage in your Facebook feed today? Probably not. So that's where you need to make real use of that time, is if you're getting sucked into your Pinterest board or your Instagram feed or your Facebook feed, the Twitter feed, whatever it is, engage. Creating that habit of whenever I'm on social, I'm here practically and intentionally, and whenever I can provide value to a conversation, I do. That becomes a habit. You're going to realize you had more time than you thought.
Yes, I love what you just said, because there's a whole big difference, guys, between just like diving in and getting lost in your feeds and actually engaging with them. So I really encourage you, if you feel like you're kind of running out of time, to do a time audit. Like, figure out, where am I spending it? Set a timer, write down how you're spending your time for an entire day. And if you see, well, I spent 20 minutes on Facebook, but you didn't actually do anything on Facebook, well, then you need to adjust your strategy a little and make sure that you're just being very, very intentional with how you spend your time. And also getting really clear on, where is my audience coming from? If I'm just getting started, where do I know my audience is? And how can I make sure I set up my day so that I am prioritizing being with my audience, right? So there's a difference between just kind of viewing and posting and then hopping out and engaging. So we had a question here. He owns a software company and he has 500 followers on Instagram, but he's having a hard time really turning those followers into customers. Yeah. So a lot of Edgar users come to us with this, right? They're like, I have all these followers, but I'm not really seeing any customers from them. So what are your tips for that?
So a lot of the time what we do is we say, okay, well, we've got all these followers, but they're not actually creating conversions. And my question to you would be, have you dove into your metrics and are you looking at the level of your engagement? And this is a big one, okay, guys? So everybody who's got a pen, grab it. Write down in large letters, vanity metrics suck. okay? This is a big takeaway for you, okay? I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care what your reach is. None of that matters. What matters is your engagement. I would rather have 100 people engaging daily on my profile than 1 million people following my account and 1 person actually engaging. And this is a trap that a lot of people have built into their business. And that's the first step you have to overcome. Now, that being said, let's say you've got 500 followers that are engaging really well, but you're still not seeing conversions. Not a problem. A large amount of the time, the breakdown is in the call to action. So as you're creating conversations and as you're providing value in your content, make sure there's a clear call to action. And whether that's try the product here for free, let's say maybe that's the model, or we'd love for you to share this out with your friends and family that love, and I think I saw it was pet groomers. So if you've got a shaggy dog, I know I got a Cocker Spaniel as one of my 3 dogs, that guy needs to shave regularly, right? Great. That's how I would engage. It would be, you know any Cocker Spaniel owners that need this? Share this content with them. Have your call to action be quite clear and have it be at the start of your content instead of at the end. I think that's something that a lot of people miss is they create this great 2-minute video. Well, your retention is only going to dip down to the end. And if your call to action is at the end of the video, they're not going to get it. So start with that and then dive into your content. The other point I would give you is this. Again, it's not about what you're creating. It's about how you're engaging. So listen to conversations around pet grooming, pet groomers, and see if people are asking questions that your product solves, right? So somebody goes, man, this is nuts. I can't keep track of all my clients and all their scheduling. Bam, you show up and go, yeah, we hate that. We had so many of our customers having this problem. That's why we created this solution. Bam, drop it. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that have that same question and aren't asking it on social. And for you to come into that conversation, drop a solution, oftentimes that can be a much higher rate of conversion.
Yes. And that is, I would say, the magic of when you combine something like Edgar and you have your content on your feed already, because then you're freed up to engage with your audience, engage with your competitors' audience, engage with other people you find through hashtags or in your groups. Like there's all different types of things, because when you start engaging with them, you answer a question, you give a solution, you give a suggestion, you give some value, then they're going to go back to your feed and they're going to look, well, what's this person sharing? And if you have very valuable content that's already on the feed outside of these existing conversations, then you're that much closer to building that value, building that trust, and turning that person into a customer. So they go hand in hand. All right. Do we have any other questions that we've missed? All right. Couple of questions here, Dan. Okay. Kristen asks, what if you're a marketing manager for a larger company? Is it a good idea to be doing videos from my perspective if I represent a brand that I don't own?
No. That's a phenomenal question. An agency often comes up in this of how does relationship marketing work with agency? This is one where you have to sit down, especially if you are the one making decisions and you're face to face with your brand rep. You want to have a conversation with them and explain, yes, we are happy to curate content, to put that content out there, to craft a brand voice for you. We are thrilled to do that. However, you need to start having somebody internally that's focused on CX, customer experience, for those of you that don't have the acronym. Every company is coming around to this evolution, that somebody has to be focused on the customer experience, and it's their job to create the live video replies that you're going to use in your branding. And this may seem like it's more intensive, but every single agency I know that has made a connection to a customer experience rep inside the brands they represent has had massive success with relationship marketing. It does 2 things. It allows you as a brand to focus on that calendar, curation, and interaction with the engagements on that long-form content. And then your internal customer experience rep creates that behind the scenes kind of feel, right? So one of my clients who had a lot of success with this is somebody that works with Hollywood films. And so the brand agency took over all the long form content of here are trailers and here's content for the video and here's the movie and when it's going to drop. And then the customer experience rep on site, on scene is doing the behind the scenes videos. And people are loving it. They're just, this is awesome. I get to see the director shooting and behind the camera and everything that's happening. And it's huge for how that traction grows and builds a lot of behind the scenes stuff. You want to see people that are leading in this industry. I cannot tout. Chris Hart is huge and The Rock is massive. Every video shoot he's on, he is there behind the scenes. Here's the stars eating sandwiches. Here's us walking. Here's us just giving that behind the scenes feel. So you really need to engage your brand and say, here's the value proposition, the more transparent your brand becomes, the more relatable it becomes. And the more relatable it becomes, the further people can go in building that relationship funnel.
Yes. And Kristen, I will add that I am not the face of Edgar. I'm not the founder of Edgar. Laura Roeder is the founder of Edgar. But what we've done as a company is identify what our brand voice is, what our brand values are, and what our brand messaging is. And therefore, that's empowered me to go out and create videos and, you know, be that person that gives the inside look at the company, even though I'm not the founder, even though I'm not the owner, I'm still a representative of the company. And people do associate MeetEdgar with Maura, especially on Twitter, because I'm not afraid to use my name, but it does build. So, you know, if you're the marketing manager and you talk to your boss and kind of talk them through what your values are, then I would say you could have a good possibility of actually sharing those if you're internally with the company. If you're an agency, it's a little more difficult, but if you're internally, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Lauren, I'm doing Instagram and Facebook. Is it really beneficial to engage every day? Yes.
Yeah.
I would say every day. But you can set parameters on it, Lauren. Like, you don't have to be in there all day, every day. 20 minutes here, there, 30 minutes here, there, you know, carve out a time for an hour is very valuable as long as you're doing what Dan talked about earlier, which is actually engaging and not just scrolling.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Carlos says, one of his businesses only has 68 followers on Facebook, but still produces over $100,000 per year in revenue. Yeah. So that just goes to show it's not vanity metrics.
Yeah, I have a buddy that owns a very specific niche car manufacturing company down in Texas. Only 25 followers on his Facebook account, and he brings in over 6 figures. It's not about wide, it's about depth.
So I love this next question. Lauren says, people are watching my videos, but they're not really engaging. She's trying to start conversations, but for some reason they're not engaging. Dan, what do you suggest?
Stop trying to start conversations. Join conversations already in progress. Okay. And this is a big one. I had the same problem when I dove into Twitter at first. It was, I'm creating these great videos with captions and animations and graphics, but they're not seeing the engagement. What is everybody talking about? And it wasn't until I flipped it and joined conversations already happening and inputting my videos into that conversation that I was able to start creating conversations. Now it's been about 2 or 3 months of my consistently creating video. I can now start a conversation with video. But the reality is you have to put in that time first to building yourself into the community and them accepting who you are, the value you bring, and knowing that the content you're going to drop is always worth engaging with.
Yes. Find your community first. Put yourself in their shoes, whether it is going on Instagram and finding, you know, we did this on Instagram with MeetEdgar. No one was engaging with our page. So I went out and I followed hashtags and I found social media managers. I found freelancers. I started commenting on their post. I started asking them questions in their post, started conversations in their post, and that naturally led to more people following us. So sometimes you have to start and go out and find them, and then you can start building your own. All right. Bonnie said, can you talk more about using social to send customers to brick and mortar?
Yeah. So this is actually where I feel relationship marketing has the strongest potential. For years and years and years, brick and mortar has been outcrying, digital's killing us, Walmart, Amazon, they're destroying us. And here's a very, very real point. The relationship that people have with Amazon and Walmart is garbage. It is a very shallow connection that they have. There is not a ton of brand loyalty. It's about convenience. And what I love about brick and mortar stores is you know your community. You know the people that you serve. You have face-to-face interaction. And that is a huge benefit to you. The more that you showcase that through video online, that you're not about, I don't want to be Amazon. I want to serve Frank because Frank loves sandwiches and I make a great sandwich. The more that's what, I don't know who Frank is, but the reality is the more that you showcase that you're not passionate about virality, you're passionate about those relationships that you're building in store and in-house. So many people go, you know what? I'm tired of calling Amazon and getting India. I want to engage with people. I want to have those interactions. And that sandwich place is 2 doors down. I'm going to go there. One of the beautiful things that Twitter and Instagram are doing really well right now is geolocation. when you put out a post and you've got your location set up so the app is able to access where you're at, it immediately pings people in your area, and whether you realize that or not, it is doing that. It's dropping you into local feeds that are nearby, free of charge. Twitter does a much better job of it, but Instagram is doing it as well. But organically, you're doing that. And with video content, their algorithms are actually giving you a little bump in the feed saying, ooh, shiny video. So be interactive, engage your customers. Don't be afraid to show your customers. Oftentimes, people are perfectly happy. Believe me, if they're happy to take that selfie, they're happy to do that quick video with you as well. How was the sandwich? It was awesome. Perfect. That was like 10 seconds, but you put that out, you're going to nail it.
Yes. And I would say, really listen to Dan on that geo-targeting. I am a freelancer outside of MeetEdgar, and I have a lot of restaurants that I work with. And one of the most beneficial things I do as that restaurant on Instagram is I will click on the geolocation area around, or I'll look at other, there's restaurants around, and I'll look at people who are tagging themselves and I comment. Awesome picture, love it. We'd love to, give you a sangria the next time you come in. Find those people, and then they're like, oh, what's this restaurant? And they end up clicking over to our feed and looking out. So, if you are brick and mortar, use that geolocation because it's super powerful. VMedia asked, where's all this engagement occurring on multiple platforms or Facebook only? Well, Dan is a Twitter guy. He's not a Facebook fan. I would say find where your audience is, because that completely depends on where the engagement happens.
I still see great engagement on Facebook and Instagram from the content. My issue is the organic reach on Facebook and Instagram. It's very much pay to play. So you have to be aware of that. But the engagement inside Facebook groups, for example, is still very, very good. Facebook groups is something that I will advocate for Facebook. And really with Facebook groups, because they're local. You can type in any city in the world and your niche, and you will get at least 50 groups show up. So Chicago pops to mind for some reason. Chicago floral. Type that in and then go up to the top and hit groups. You will see a ton of groups show up. My big caveat here, and again, for those with your pen handy, don't puke on the group. Engage with the conversation. Don't try to start it. Engage with the people already talking. And as your brand builds some authority in that group, then you can start to post your content in there. Don't start with spew. Don't. It'll hurt you. But the engagement's good there. Twitter organically just explodes. It's free traffic in a big way. And LinkedIn as well, to be honest. LinkedIn organic reach is very, very big. And they are very good about making sure you get in front of people that associate locally or industry-wise.
Yeah, LinkedIn is great if you are B2B. I know a couple of people throw up that they were B2B or consultants or marketers. LinkedIn is really powerful for that.
Yeah.
All right. So James said, would you agree that whilst huge marketing budgets are beneficial, social content can achieve an equal, if not better, return for any business and level the playing fields a bit?
Yeah. So one of the clients that I picked up last month came to me and said, we had an event out in Alberta. We dropped $100,000 on the ad budget. We saw 2 signups for the event. Our event sold out, but all of those registrations for the event came from our organic social and not our ads. To which point I said, that's an expensive $100,000 lesson to learn. Yes, can ad dollars boost you up there? Sure, but you're playing the game against guys like Coke, Nike, and to be honest, you don't have the budget to compete. So what do you do instead? That's where relationship marketing is at the heart of this. Mm-hmm. Honest, hands down, bar none. Does Nike have a massive budget? Sure they do. Do they need to have that massive budget? Not really. Their community is really committed. When you hop into any post that they put out, you see the length of conversation that's happening on there. That's not because of ad dollars spent. That's because they've spent 30 years building a dedicated community.
All right. Lauren asked us, what are your thoughts on chatbots? She's mixed.
Chatbots?
Chatbots, like bots. That answer for you.
Okay. So here's my thought on chatbots. I love MeetEdgar because MeetEdgar is very clear that it's me delivering my evergreen content. It's not me pretending to have a conversation. It's me sharing things of value into my feed. Okay. So I'm never trying to portray, this is me live putting out my content. People understand that when my content hits the feed, that's just me providing value. My issue with chatbots is this, is you are trying to allow an AI service to represent who you are. I would never do that personally with my brand. If I'm building relationships, I would never want to have pre-recorded messages being how people relate with me. And this happens all day on Twitter. People will send me, people I've never met before will say, wow, I really love this reply. I take the time to do a live 20-second reply. What do you think the value in that relationship funnel is versus a chatbot, right? Oh, he did a live video reply that was just for me versus the chatbot said hi. I think everybody in this room will agree that the live video reply is going to provide much greater value, and it's going to build trust, and it's going to build awareness. So messenger bots and chatbots, I've seen them work. They work for e-commerce, so I can't say they're a completely useless tool. They do not work nearly as well as live interaction. Hands down, bar none, they won't do it.
Yes, so I would definitely agree. Chatbots are not the way to try to facilitate relationship marketing. We use chatbots, I would say, for automatic replies for when we are out of the office. We will have something that comes in. If you message us, it'll say, hey, we got your message, or, we work 9 to 6. With that being said, we make sure that someone actually always answers as a human being and as a person. They can work very well in funnels. There's lots of different ways you can use chatbots, but for this, specific conversation about relationship marketing, it's gotta be you guys. And there are ways to balance. Listen, we automate a lot of stuff in MeetEdgar because we're a small team and I don't have the time to be everywhere. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I'm automating stuff that doesn't have to be me, that doesn't have to be real time. I would never automate like a Twitter chat because there's no real way to do that. That's why I get to be real time. So really understanding that balance of like, what are things that can be automated? What are things that can save you a little time that you don't have to be doing manually? Because then you'll have the time to do the actual relationship building, the actual conversations and engaging.
Yes, everybody, this event will be made available to you afterwards. So if you do have to duck out, ask your question now and you can catch the video reply later for sure.
Yes. All right. So it looks like we've caught up on questions. So if you guys have more, shout them out for sure. So Dan, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I always like to say there's a balance between your long form content and your short form content. So how do you know what should be long form content and how it's valuable? Like, how do you build that into your own system, because you rely really heavily on relationship marketing, but I also know you have a ton of videos on YouTube because I've watched them. So how do you say, well, this is the time I'm going to dedicate to creating a video because I want this video to do whatever it does for me, and leverage that with relationship marketing?
Yeah, so the beauty of evergreen content is it's evergreen. So I've got a decade of evergreen content behind me now, which allows for me to just have that constantly in my MeetEdgar library, and it posts it not the same articles all the time, but it does a great job of changing the text for me. That's automated. It presents it well, and it's in a cycle. So the reality is, for me, dedicating time, I put aside Saturdays, unless I'm busy at an event or something, I put together Saturdays to craft content. That could be a LinkedIn article, that could be a YouTube video. Usually it's both, but I take my Saturday for that, and I do work a 6-day week. For those of you that don't want to do that, that's fine. An hour a week to creating a long form piece of content and introduce that into your feed. At first, that'll feel kind of slow, but as the weeks go by, after a year of that, you've got 52 pieces of evergreen content going up, right? So for me, it's dedicating that time once a week to create some great evergreen content, and then spending the duration of the week being live, real time, and interacting with your community as it happens. Having that balance of real time is for real time, long form content time is for long form content time.
Yes, I love that, right? Because we do that at MeetEdgar too. I take 2 days and create the entire month's worth of content for our feed, and then I spend the entire month engaging and really building those relationships. All right. Apparently, Dan, you might be freezing a little. I don't know if you want to test your connection. I will keep answering questions while we're testing this out.
Looks
I don't
really
see it, but a couple
fast on my end. Am I still?
Yeah, guys, let us know. All right. Lachelle loves the suggestion of scheduling Saturday live for the week. Your audio is coming through, so that's good. Ooh, this chat is flying, you guys. I want to make sure we get all your questions. All right. So Lana asked, any specific tips for real estate business on social media?
Okay, sorry. Let's get that question again. I was just fixing the video, so hopefully it's a little bit crisper now.
Okay. Do you have any specific tips for real estate on social media? How real estate business can use social?
Yeah. Agencies, whether it's real estate, whether it's insurance, whether it's investment, you guys need relationship marketing. There is so much in the real estate industry, agency industry, where people are coming to me and saying, I look like everybody else. We're all putting out the same content. We all have the same feel. Our Remax or real estate makes us all use the same websites. How do I stand out? And your personality is what makes you unique. That's how you're going to stand out. And the best way that you show that personality is, that's right, live video, live interaction. So one of the things, my mother-in-law is a real estate agent, and I am on her all the time about this, where she goes, oh, it's a rainy day or a snowy day in Ottawa. You're not going to be able to make it to an open house. And I tell her, why don't you just go live and do a live tour of your house? And everybody can engage with you there, right? It's a simple thing to do. People that are following you anyway know you're a real estate agent. Instagram is great for that, for going live, because it'll use your geolocation. Same thing with Periscope. You could do it that way too for Twitter. Twitter's a bit bigger of an animal though. It's more of even with its localization, it'll be bigger. It'll be all of the Ottawa area as opposed to Ottawa in your area. So for Instagram, it's really good about to the kilometer. We're talking a kilometer around you, or 30 kilometers around you, or 50 kilometers around you. It does a really great job of saying, oh, they're here, they're live. Everybody that's nearby, you need to check this out. So that's a great tool with Instagram. While I may not be a huge fan of the entire platform, they do a great job with live video broadcasts that will equip you as a real estate agent to show off your house, and you can highlight those live feeds afterwards and either import them to IGTV, or you can download the video and upload it to your other platforms as well, including your real estate website.
Yes, I love those tips. I also loved your last tip about repurposing that live content. Don't be afraid to repurpose your content, guys. You can never guarantee that people are going to see it right off the bat. So being like sharing it again, finding new avenues to put that on. If you have a YouTube video, you can share that onto LinkedIn, or, you know, you can cut it up and put it on IGTV. There's a lot of different ways that you can use that content without like spending a ton of time creating new content. All right. There's still a little bit of a lag, but everyone's saying audio is good. So if audio stops working, guys, please let us know, because I want to make sure you're hearing all these great answers. Kelvin asked if we covered engaging during Facebook Live videos. So I think Facebook Live videos are just like how you would engage in any live video. I think the most important thing with Facebook is that you promote that live video before you do it, because Facebook, the feed, the reach is a lot lower these days. So if you are going to go live on Facebook, it's not like it used to be where you could kind of go live and catch people in their feed. You really need to promote it beforehand and tell people like, hey, I'm going live at this time talking about this, and build it up and promote it as much as possible, because you just don't catch it in the feed as much as you used to.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would put to live video, because a lot of people assume that live video and recorded video are the same, and they're not. For live video, you have to be very clear about the intent of what that live video is. So, for example, we just talked about a real estate agent doing a live tour. That's fine, but you have to keep in mind that that's the purpose. You're not looking to have a ton of conversations. You're more so looking to address each room of the house and showcase it. So make sure that you don't lose focus on that. I see a lot of people go live on their video and spend more time, oh, hi, welcome to the chat. Oh, hi, welcome to the chat. Oh, hi, welcome to the chat. And that's just not functional. So even now, while we're doing this live here, Maura's doing a great job of watching the chat and processing for questions after, but we're very focused on doing what we're doing here and now. And then we can always go back afterwards, pool those questions and those comments, or send out a general thank you to everybody, specific thank yous to each person, but focus on what you're doing in the live. If you want to have a conversation, great. If you're doing an interview, focus on the interview. If you're doing a tour or a demo of a product or service, make that the focus. Always, you can have Q&A time afterwards. That's not a problem. But be aware in live, you have a purpose. Don't sacrifice that purpose for the sake of, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, hi, how are you? Oh, hi, how are you? It's going to kill it.
Yes. Yes, Dana asked, would you recommend having someone online to field questions and chat during your live video? I think if you have the capability, that can be really helpful. We tend to do that at MeetEdgar. If I'm live, I'll have someone who's helping out in the chat, or if Laura's live, I'll be helping out in the chat. So if you have that capability, if you don't, if you're a solopreneur, don't worry about that. Let them know. Always engage with them afterwards, comment afterwards, because that helps it show back up in the feed. But it can be really helpful.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree, but I think you touched on a key point as well. Make sure it's somebody that's aligned with your brand, okay?
Yeah.
Don't use a VA. Don't use just some random person that you met through a Facebook group. Make sure that somebody that understands your brand voice and has the best interest of the brand at heart. Agencies, I know we had a few agency questions in here. That's a huge one for agencies where they say, well, should we be live in the chat and engaging? Would you be willing to do a live video on behalf of that brand? If not, please don't.
Yes.
That brand voice has to be unified from video to copy to imagery. And if you can't provide that, don't.
Excellent point. Okay. Marie asked if we have any advice for website designers.
Yeah. So website designers, part of your process is really that creative process. And I think this is where a lot of creative design, video design, graphic design, website design, I think a lot of designers miss the buck. So many people are interested in how you do what you do, and we don't showcase that enough. So Twitch is a platform that I highly recommend for anybody that is in design, graphic design, website design, architecture. People want to see your creative process. So take the time and show them that. It's really quick and easy to get a tool like OBS or Zoom where you can broadcast your screen. And yeah, there's always going to be proprietary information. So don't work on things that are proprietary, but at the same time, you can show people that process. You can get people plugged into, this is how we create here. We're open about this. We're honest about this. And a lot of the times I hear brands saying, well, what if my client doesn't want their stuff shown? Most of the artistic clients that I have in film production, video production, their clients love the free press and advertising around their brand, where it's this, look at what we're doing, building this up for this brand. Isn't this brand awesome? That free engagement on Twitch that's live, it's long attention on a brand, people love it.
Awesome. All right. So Beth had a really great question that I want to address, and then I'll let you chime in, Dan. She said, on finding groups, her kids aren't little anymore. It feels wrong for me to be joining moms groups, which is where many of my customers are. So Beth, you'll have to remind me what your business is. But so when it comes to finding the groups where your audience is, you might not actually be in that audience, but it doesn't mean you can't provide value to them. So I think that's the most important thing to think about. Like, if you are providing value to some way to moms with little kids, then you're going to want to be in front of those people. So just because you're not a business owner, or, I'm not a business owner, I work in a company, but I still engage with other business owners. So I feel like I can connect with them and give value. The difference is if you show up in these groups and you start selling right away, people will not like you being there. They will not want you in their community. But if you can give value, then go ahead and join, like be of service to these people. Dan, did you have anything about finding those communities?
Yeah, so the tip that I can give you, because a lot of people operate better when there's a standard rule. The bare minimum I would give you is the 7-to-1 rule, okay? So every conversation that you engage with, for every one product drop you do, you better have 7 replies that have nothing to do with your product, okay? So
write
when
that
you
down.
do that 7-to-1 rule, it makes it really easy for you not to come across as spammy. Instead, people are going to go, wow, she is really engaged. And when you see that opportunity, that need of, oh, it's March break, my kids are driving me nuts, I wish I had something for them to do. Oh, I hear you. That's exactly why we made these awesome boxes. See how that doesn't come across as this pushy, kind of spammy sales thing? It's like, I am a mom. I am acutely aware of March break madness. And I'm not talking about basketball. I'm talking about my kids terrorizing me. Here's the solution I had to create out of necessity. Tell me that's not going to engage with more people out there, right?
Yes. James asked, how much should people be considering TikTok as a platform?
Okay, so here's a general rule with platforms, guys. And a lot of people are going to ask as new platforms come out, is MySpace where it should be? TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. No platform is right or wrong for your business, And I'm never going to say you must use this tool, you must use this social media network. Each community is different, and the product or service you provide is different, which is why you have to do that legwork of seeking out your community first and engaging them there. TikTok is a massive platform right now for Gen Z and millennials. It is. It's huge. And more businesses are starting to adopt and adapt to it. So is it something that you should try or should not try? I'm always open to trying. But if your community is not there, should you go all in on it? No. Find what works, engage your community where they are, and double down on that. Don't try to make a tool work for you. Find the tool that is going to work for you. Now, I love TikTok for what it is. If you are open to video, quick clips, which is huge for me, I'm all about that. But the reality is I'm all in on Twitter and LinkedIn because event professionals are not looking for public speakers off of TikTok. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yes, find where your people are and go there. You know, don't worry about being on the trendiest platform. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take a couple more questions, and then, you know, we're going to cut it off because Dan has a long drive in front of him. So Kimberly said that her new customer retails a natural botanical product online, but she's having difficulty engaging the baby boomer generation and younger because they're not really as tech savvy. And these like content specific videos might not yield high engagement. So do we have any pointers for reaching kind of an older demographic that might be a little less tech savvy? Yeah,
so the big place for an older demographic is Facebook. And more the data is showing that Facebook is an aging population. The younger generation, millennials are really active on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Professionals are very active on LinkedIn, Twitter, but an older generation, they're really actively using Facebook. So seek out groups there. The other big one that I recommend for your client is boomers and older appreciate that face-to-face interaction. So you are a great business to be at events that cater to that older demographic. Even making the time to create content showcasing you going to places where you can find those groups. So retirement homes, retirement villages, taking the time to engage with events there and broadcasting and creating content from those places can go a long way to showing that your brand is approachable. Yes, you've got a digital presence and that's great, but you're willing to get there and handshake and have fun and be there with those older audiences in real life.
Yes. Yeah, I would definitely say check out Facebook. They do love groups. They love, you know, certain pages. They're super active on Facebook. So I would definitely try there and, you know, get personal with them. They answer every comment. Baby boomers are really into commenting on things. So if you answer them, they'll start a conversation with you. All right, a couple more questions. Guys, I'm so happy you're loving this. Dan is awesome when it comes to this stuff. So make sure you follow him on Twitter. Everything will be linked in the email afterwards. All right, so Svetlana, can you use the same content for different social media?
Absolutely.
Dan. We might have lost him. Let me know, guys, if you can still hear us. So you can use the same. Yes. Oh, all right. We lost Dan.
Am I back? I'm here. I still see you.
Okay. Dan's back.
Okay. They can hear me. Okay,
all
great.
Right, cool. So that question, should you use the same content on different platforms?
Yes. Your evergreen content should cycle through, and that should just be something that you're committed to doing. Your real-time content is not going to be the same, though, from platform to platform. It just doesn't enable that way. LinkedIn doesn't allow for that same kind of video reply that you can do on Twitter. I'm trying to think of platform. Twitter is really a powerhouse for real-time engagement. Facebook Live can be. Instagram doesn't do a great job with it just because the replies are so limited in what you can put into a box. So yes, evergreen content should go out across your network as a whole. Real time, you have to really understand how a community uses a tool and how you can best engage. Facebook groups do allow for you to do a video reply. It won't be a live reply. You'd have to record the content and upload that in your response, but that option is there.
All right. Bridget asked, can you repeat where to use long form and short form content? Bridget, you would use it wherever you're distributing your content, right? So your long form might be your email, it might be your blog, it might be your podcast, but you would still want to share that on Twitter, but you would also want to be engaging in conversations on Twitter. So it's just that balance of content. will be shared in the same place, but just making sure you're hitting both of those. All right, you guys, we have 2 minutes left. If you have any last minute questions, please get them in now. Andrew, I'm so happy you enjoyed this webinar. I will be sending out the entire webinar with the video so you guys can watch it. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to MeetEdgar. You can reach out to Dan, a Millennial Motivator on Twitter. He will be linked in the email. If you're not Edgar fans, I'm going to give you guys a 1-month free trial with the code Dan Willis. So type that into our code box. You can start mixing up long form and short form content too. Dan, anything else before we head out and you hit the road?
I see one more question here that I think is relevant to everybody. What's the best way to promote yourself on social when you're busy working for your clients? This is one that a lot of solo entrepreneurs face and a lot of businesses face, and the answer is this. Showcase you working so hard for your clients.
Mm-hmm.
If you're putting out live video 5 times a day of, this is nuts, I just finished talking with this person, or I'm about to go into a meeting and I'm going to talk to my clients about this, or this is so crazy what my clients are doing. If you're creating 10, 15 videos like that a day, people are going to know that you hustle, you bust butt for your clients, and you're doing free promo for your clients' brands. So that would be the last thing. Guys, don't underestimate the value of relationship. Engage your community. Do not spew all over them. And like Maura said, I cannot tell MeetEdgar enough. If you guys have questions, please contact me or MeetEdgar. We will do our best to get to you. Enjoy this video on the replay, guys, and I can't wait to connect with you later down the road.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Have a good Friday.
Bye.
Bye.